gearing up for war, don't get it mixed up. I come in peace, kid. I'm bringing commentary and the new releases. I put them hours in to get prepared now. We play on expert level, don't be scared now. I'ma destroy you when I'm forced, I can tear down. If you ain't tuned into the channel, keep your head down. Cut the fix up with some Xbox babies, put the switch up. See me gearing up for war, don't get it mixed up. I come in peace, kid. I'm bringing commentary and the new releases. I put them hours in to get prepared now. We play on expert level, don't be scared now. I'ma destroy you when I'm forced, I can tear down. If you ain't tuned into the channel, keep your head down.
Yo, thank you guys for joining us. This is a special episode of The Fix. We had a bit of a snafu, if you will, yesterday with myself and Daniel J. McG, and OBS had tricked out on us, cut off his audio at first. I turned his on and thought, okay, we're good, and didn't think to check mine. We did a 4-hour show for the pregame show for the awards the other day. Come to find out, a buddy of mine joined the chat and said, hey, you all know that we can't hear Umbra, right? And they didn't catch anything I said throughout that entire thing. And so I had to erase that. And, you know, that's why I figured I'll do something special for today and bring these gentlemen in with me. Luckily, they were free to join me. And, you know, and we're going to have a quick discussion. It won't be that long. I know you all probably, if you're hearing this right now, you have other people you want to listen to that's coming up soon enough as well. Friday is kind of packed. But without further ado, let me move to my illustrious guests. First up with Kay Asante, my brother.
Kay. Good afternoon, good day, everybody.
Yes.
What's going on?
Not happy too much. Happy to have you again. Pause.
Hey now. No Diddy. Let's keep it moving.
Let me see. But yeah, Kay, man, what have you been up to, my brother? I know you, of course, you one half of the GCP. You know, tell the good folks about yourself a little bit of something about
Yes, sir. Yeah, you know, myself and Everborn Saga, we doing some fun stuff on my channel. Actually, to this weekend, before the gaming the Game Awards, we pulled out some spreadsheets and categorized who we thought would win and all of this. So tomorrow's show will be called The Reckoning, where we will ridicule each other profusely about who got the most right answers and who did not. So I'm sure hilarity will ensue. But no, it's a fun time, you know. So, you know, beyond that, as far as stuff I'm doing, I'm recently resenting Dragon Age because it's stopping me from playing what I really want to play, which is Indiana Jones. So that's
nice. Yeah, Indy is dope, by the way. So you definitely have to get through it. But definitely Veilguard is dope too and slept on. Next up, of course, is my brother Lucius Augustus, well-educated, intelligent brother who thinks he knows better than me, but he doesn't. I'm joking. So Lucius, no, he knows much more than me in the tech advance and tech information and such like that. I don't even challenge it. Actually, all three of you do. I'm kind of upset about this, but all three of you outdo me when it comes to tech. But that's why I have you here as buddies. I can learn. Lucius Augustus, thank you for joining me again, brother. It's been a while. Not that long though, but it's been a little bit of a time, I guess. Tell the good folks what you've been up to, what you've been playing.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I've been enjoying my new PC that I built, or I got Micro Center to build it for me. I don't want to make it seem like I built it myself. I could have, but I was too lazy. 9800 X3D 4080 Super. It's looking make my games look right. It's looking good. Yeah, I'm enjoying myself, man. I'm playing Final Fantasy 16 on the PC. The game looks good, plays well. I'm playing a couple games, just jumping back and forth. I finished up Dragon Age Veilguard a couple weeks ago. Huge fan of that. Before that, I finished up Metaphor. Before that, I've been playing a lot of games in 2024. I don't know about y'all, but yeah, I've been having myself a great time. I am a couple hours into Indiana Jones, but I want to finish up a couple other games so that way it can have my full attention. That's kind of the way that I'm doing things right now. But yeah, man, there's great games out there. We just saw a display of fantastic games last night that I'm excited to talk about. So yeah, man, I'm hyped.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Happy to have you join in on the 4080 Super Gang. You know what I mean? I'm sure you had your pinky up by the time you started powering through Final Fantasy 16.
Yes.
Absolutely. Speaking of Final Fantasy, we'll be talking about that, I'm sure, within this discussion as well. At least one of them. And, of course, last but not least, my brother Slow-Mo Backslap. Slow-Mo, this is your first time joining me on my channel, I believe. Am I wrong?
You are correct. This is the first time. I do apologize for being late. I had to do some pre-compiling of shaders for UE5 before it allowed me into the chat, and that takes a while. And then there's still the whole traversal stutter even after you get in here. So blame Unreal Engine and not me. So
pay him no mind. Pay him no mind, Epic. If you're listening, I still want my money. Listen, I think the whole stuttering thing with Unreal is overstated. People are just, being crybabies.
Really?
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 It runs as efficiently as the id Tech engine. You know what I mean? The people just
stop lying. You lying right now.
No, absolutely not. That's not the case. No.
But,
no. I mean, look, I play a little bit of Indiana Jones, and already I could see the if that was Unreal Engine, people would have far more issues.
Speaking of which,
far more issues.
What all have you been playing lately? I know you got through Metaphor, I know for sure, and you're on Indiana Jones now.
Yeah. But I'm playing a little bit of Indiana Jones. I'm not really into immersive sims like that, so I don't know if I will stick with it or not. But I'm still playing it as of now. I did finish Metaphor a couple days ago. Like Lucius, I also completed Dragon Age Veilguard. I actually beat that twice. Nice. And I've been playing I play a lot of multiplayer games, a lot of live service stuff. So I've been playing Fortnite. I tried their ballistic mode. I've been playing Call of Duty Black Ops multiplayer with friends, and I've been playing a little bit of Marvel Rivals as well. So okay. I got my current rotation at the moment that I've been kind of going through.
Nice. Let me ask you on Marvel Rivals, do you think that game is going to last? Do you think it's going to make it past 6 months and still be popular?
It won't be as popular as it is now, but it doesn't need to be as popular as it is now to survive. Whether it does or not, I think that it's kind of up in the air, because although 10 million players is fantastic and not many games can boast that, XFI had 7 million earlier this year. That game's already shut down. I mean, it's still live, but they're not doing new content. They're not allowing new downloads. It's going to be done before it actually officially did a full 12 months. And with live service games, what's really important is not just the launch of the game, but how you consistently deliver content. And so what really comes down to with NetEase is, can they keep people engaged? Can they keep the gameplay feeling fresh? Can they keep delivering on characters, which they have an ample supply because it's Marvel? Can you keep doing that on a consistent basis in order to keep people feeling like, yeah, I'm not going to go back to Overwatch? Because that's really what it comes down to. When people think about your game and they say, hey, I heard that Marvel Rivals is pretty good, but what's that like? And they're going to say, oh, it's Overwatch with Marvel characters. I mean, that might seem enticing now, but you never, like, the live service games that really last are not the games where it's like this other game. Yeah. No, it's
true.
Like freaking Rocket League is still going.
Yeah.
And there's nothing like Rocket League. You know, it's the games that are truly unique that also do everything else that these games do with being good and people enjoying them and having a lot of fun, and you don't have a bunch of bugs or a bunch of cheaters and all that other stuff. Like, it's those games that last, not the ones that seem somewhat similar to something else.
Okay. Yeah. That's
So we'll
a
see.
fair point. Fair point. So without further ado, we'll jump right into this whole, game awards discussion. I'm playing right now The Witcher 4 because it's probably my biggest surprise / most hyped for game there. But I do want to get you guys' take, and everybody in the audience too. Definitely want to get you guys' view of what blew you away, what surprised you, etc. For The Witcher 4 here, were any of you guys at all surprised or at least disappointed, I guess, with them having Ciri take on the role of the next Witcher? And
I am barely a Witcher fan. Like, I played 2 and then dropped it, and I played 3 and then dropped it because I couldn't get with the combat for both games. And even I know that going to Ciri was just a natural progression of where you would take the franchise at this point. Like, anyone being shocked by this is just exposing that they don't know anything about those games.
Exactly.
I agree. What about you guys, Lucius?
What he said.
What he said.
Yeah, I very much agree. Like, I was also somebody who bounced off of both Witcher 2 and 3. After seeing the Witcher 4's trailer, there's a part of me that wants to give the Witcher 3 another chance, but I just was not the biggest fan of the combat, and it just everything by the looks of the trailer seems as if the combat's going to be very similar. So hopefully it feels more dynamic. I'm able to kind of switch between things much easier. I felt like the previous games were a bit clunky, but I recognize that those games had fantastic stories, great RPG elements, all of that other stuff. I just couldn't get into them personally. But even me, I like the little that I know about the story. The entire third game was you setting up for her to take the mantle. So I just don't. I like unless these people just never even touched the game and have no understanding of why she's an important character, then I think that, like, those people, we shouldn't even listen to them. If you know absolutely nothing about the series to the point that you're surprised that this person took the mantle as the next protagonist, you haven't been paying attention, and we don't need your opinion.
So I will add in real quickly here to this mix that I, unlike the other two, I believe that every game generation has a defining game that really like influences games moving forward. For me, The Witcher 3 was a game of a generation of its time,
No question.
and then subsequently Cyberpunk has come to define its generation as well. So for me, I'm a huge like mega fan of CDPR. I've played through The Witcher 3 like countless times. I think it's excellent, and yes, I too like it's an obvious progression, right? It's an obvious progression. I'll even what makes it even more egregious is you haven't read the books. I know that might be difficult. Fine. You haven't played the game. I understand it was a long game. Maybe you haven't done that. You haven't watched the Netflix series. All of them are basically training and gearing her to become a Witcher, right? The story always ends up surrounding Cirilla, like going from the beginning from princess and royalty and all of that, and ending as a Witcher, right? That's what they all do. So to say that's a problem is basically just to admit that you are just using this story that you neither know nor care about to further some agenda. So I don't even take any of those seriously. But as to this game itself, it's exciting times, man. I look forward to seeing like what differences that Unreal Engine 5 offers them, right? Because I am one, and you know me, we've had this conversation before. I am one that says a diversity in game engines in gaming is still very useful, and becoming derivative and having everybody use one game engine is a slippery slope to a bad place that we don't want to find ourselves.
I thought
So
you were
while
wrong. I
while
thought you were wrong on
appreciate
that for
it,
sure. But hey, listen, not all of us can be correct all the time. Okay, it is.
Oh,
that's true.
man.
Calm down. Yeah, there you go.
I
There you go.
kind of don't want to
There you
say
go.
what I'm about to say here, but I think CDPR can help Epic, because if you know anything about Unreal Engine, is that anything that you develop in it, Epic can
Becomes
also
part
use
of it. Yes.
and becomes part of it, and it can be done and used. Those tools can be used by other developers who are also using Unreal Engine, and CDPR are very good. Like the Red Engine is very good, and I think when it comes to optimizing, when it comes to delivering on a image quality and a vision with the art direction that absolutely nails it, I think that CDPR is very good at that. And in particular, the tools that they will develop to get Unreal Engine 5 for them what up to the speed of what the Red Engine was, I think will in the long run really help Epic out with getting this engine to be exactly what they intended it to be back in 2020 when they first showed it to developers.
That's a great point right there. Kay, you were trying to. You had a last point you were going to make on this though. You were saying.
Well, no. I was just saying that I appreciate that and I agree with Slow-Mo about it being helpful to Unreal. I actually think that might be detrimental in the long run because I don't want the beast to get bigger. But okay, that's a different conversation.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I can appreciate what I see with my eyes, which is that CDPR, at least in that demo, in that trailer, like they're hitting new heights, right? They're from a visual standpoint, from a facial motion capture standpoint, they're hitting new heights, right? But what will the differences be between the Red Engine and Unreal Engine 5, and how will they use them? How will the Witcher franchise sacrifice? What will they have to sacrifice? What will those benefits be?
Right.
I'm very interested to see that, because there's a reason why you leave your own engine in favor of Engine 5. There are obvious benefits to it, but being masters of your own engine as you are, and having to become masters of this new engine in order to hit new heights with this storied franchise, their post-mortem will be very interesting to hear.
100%. So I want to move into you guys picking a game a piece, and we'll move through them, I guess, because I want to get you guys top picks, and I guess it's the Game Awards, so we do have to speak on the actual winners and losers, I suppose, right? I'll start with you, Kay, since I started with myself with Witcher 4. What was one of your top picks, one of your top games you saw yesterday?
So I'll go into, and it's 3 picks, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll go by manner of excitement. So while I there is a level of excitement that I have for this, I will also say that they are all hype. You will find by the end of this conversation that I really enjoyed myself in this show, and I take nothing away from what was seen here and what was shown off. So I will say the first one that really blew me away, that I wasn't expecting to really be as surprising and as interesting and as creatively rich as it ended up being, was Split Fiction.
Nice.
I don't know if you guys have if you guys recall, this is Hazelight Studios, the EA Origins game, the creators of No Way Out, and
It Takes Two.
It takes two. There you go. Thank you.
Yeah.
And like the premise is interesting. Two writers, both writing completely different genres. One being fantasy, the other being sci-fi, and them. And I mean, you go watch the trailer. Let them explain it full in detail. But needless to say, they are thrust into a virtual world where their stories have collided, and they're basically trapped in it, and they have to kind of go through it, playing the rules of their own game for the stories they've built in order to save themselves. But like, it's just the moment to moment, the ideas on display was mind blowing, right? You can definitely tell that it's a game ass game, as they say, right?
Yeah.
It uses its premise to be able to facilitate many different levels of fun and interesting oddities, right? So I was just impressed by the idea that you can go very full detail in both directions, right? It's almost like they split the team into two. You make a sci-fi game, you make a fantasy game, and then we'll smack it together later, right? Like it's crazy how well and detailed it is. Because usually if you have that split of a view, you can only go so far in one direction before you go far in the other direction. You don't have that much overhead. You don't have that much resources, or and it looks like, based on what we're seeing here, they really, really went far.
They really did, yeah. I have it playing right now on the screen, by the way.
Super interesting.
Looks
Yeah,
crazy.
I'm watching the footage. It's super interesting, like how and not only the premise, right? Not only the sci-fi and fantasy sword and board premise, but also the diversity in gameplay styles. It is fantastic. Like, wow. Right, and you can definitely see where they're cribbing things from, and in certain moments, I'm like, oh yeah, you guys totally took that from
Donkey Kong or something. Yeah, like
Donkey Kong,
I
Metroid.
can see that. Yeah,
you can see it, right? But it's just done in such a lovely way, such a like their own way that I won't only allow it. I'm championing it. This is awesome. This is just awesome.
It looks.
I cannot
really
wait. It looks so great. It just looks so great. I mean, this is Joseph Fares' studio. He has a history with the Game Awards, so you can say that. But I think I would not be surprised if we see this as another Game of the Year or some award contender.
Yeah,
because
maybe
it's
best
the creativity
direction.
on
Maybe
display is undeniable.
Yeah, maybe game direction. I can see that for sure.
Yeah.
Especially if
yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
the
right,
glizzies
that's right.
being grilled and moving
The
around.
grilled glizzies, that's right.
Crazy.
I didn't even think about that.
You know what I'm saying?
Let me ask y'all.
It
Let me
was
ask you guys
awesome.
though.
Yeah.
Do you think though? And I'm going to rewind this back to the start. Do you think though that this is kind of running its, it's like their shtick, Haze Light. They kind of have this split screen co-op thing going. It's like their only kind of bag.
That's been their entire MO. Every single one of their games has been a forced co-op experience, and they have been better games because of it.
Okay. All right. What's your
Very unique, very
the
different.
Systems, the systems they have put in place to facilitate two people playing, the whole free pass thing and all that, all of that carries over to Split Fiction. So they've already said that you buy one copy, send a free pass to a friend, and now you're playing co-op with that person.
So they're allowing it for this too as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
They've already said that.
Very nice.
So yeah, even though
which is kind of essential for these kind of games, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. It helps to lower the barrier of multiplayer. I do agree with you, Umbra, that it can the formula may start to be showing a bit, but because of the creative juices they drop on top of that formula, right, to facilitate that, and also because, let's be honest, like real co-op experiences like this are becoming fewer and fewer and rarer to find. They've carved out a niche for themselves that people can still appreciate because the waters aren't as crowded, right?
Okay. Yeah. Lucius did now. Slow Mo and Lucius, did you all have anything you want to add to this, or we want to move to one of you guys' games next? Well, Lucius, it'll be you next.
Kate killed it. I got nothing else.
Okay.
Yeah, all I'm going to add to that is that if Kate hadn't said it first, this was going to be my game of the show.
Okay. Oh, nice.
There you go.
It has a lot. Just looking at it, it's a bunch of like different elements from so many different things in it, though. I can see why you were blown away by it, Kate. For sure. And I'm looking at it now and finally getting the full picture of it without sound, so I don't want to get copyright stricken, but it is it looks to be kind of crazy.
Bro, look at this last part. You start the game, you start the fantasy world in a world where you find eggs, and by its conclusion you're riding on full-blown dragons.
Man, what
and
you
they know
imagine?
you, and it's great, man. It's everything gaming is about. That like unfettered
This is obviously the
abundance of
Metroid.
creativity.
This is obviously the Metroid in section where they turn into balls and like move around. Like this is a love letter to video games.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
I could definitely see the Metroid. I could see the Donkey Kong part when they shot out of that plant to the next area.
This is Plucky Squire done a different way.
I like that. Plucky
It's
Squire
beautiful. It's
done
great.
better because Plucky Squire unfortunately was
Exactly.
not as great as it should have been. But yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
let me switch.
Wow, the
to-
gameplay is the element. It's excellent. It
Yeah.
really is.
So, Lucius, for you, my brother, what was one of your best takeaways from this? One of your best games of the show. I think I know what it's
Yeah.
going to be, but I'll let you select.
Project Century.
I knew it.
Like I said, if it wasn't for Kay choosing the other game, I would have chosen that one because that one's very impressive. But the very idea that Ryo Gakutoku is out here killing it still, making Yakuza games, making Like a Dragon games, making the Judgment games, and all of these have like different kind of general mechanics to them. Like Judgment is a brawler just like the standard Yakuza games, but it's far more faster. Like you're able to react much faster because the guy's like a kung fu person, so his reaction time is insane. In comparison to Kiryu, who's just like a giant bulking monster who just like destroys someone.
Right.
So the fighting style is completely different in Judgment. Yakuza obviously is going to have the brawler style that continues to exist via the pirate Yakuza that we're going to get next year. We have the turn-based situation with Like a Dragon, and now we're getting something that looks more open world, third-person action game, incredibly brutal, gives me the vibes of like Sleeping Dogs, but like in the early 1900s Japan. This game has me incredibly hyped. Like everything that they showed makes me want to play it immediately. But the fact that it's called Project Century and it doesn't have like any real name means that we're not getting this game anytime soon.
I will agree with that, but I'll also say, for one, I agree with you 100%. Definitely want to play this right now. You see blood, you see like they're not shy on that. Also, too, I thought it was a different engine. I had to ask you guys about that because it looks so much like it looks so differently presented compared to the more like, how do I put this? You know how like you play
So the
Kamara Show in
Yakuza
other
engine-
areas?
Yeah, so the Yakuza games were typically on different proprietary engines for a very long time.
Yeah.
At some point, they had different names, such as like the Kiwami engine or the Dragon engine. But I believe for their newer games, they have announced that they are moving to Unreal Engine 5.
Oh, whoa, look at this. Unreal taking over. Y'all hear that, Kay?
Oh
You hear that?
God.
You hear that? Slow mo.
And this is the problem I have.
Man.
They're
But-
all feeding the beast, and eventually the beast is gonna get too hard to handle. Just
Yeah,
saying.
all these companies are looking for as much profits as possible. So it's like, where can we save money? Well, if we don't have to constantly develop and update our own engine, which we're the only ones who use it, then we're not seeing quote unquote value in this. You know how these big companies are. At some point, they all fall into the same traps.
So my thing though, if you look at past games with Kamara Show and other Yakuza games, it can look nice, but it looks nowhere near as nice as this. And what I mean by that is this has dynamic rain coming down. You got the world and the angles of how they're presenting it. Kamara Show looks very stale and like sterile a little bit, the way it's presented. This looks really like different, if that makes any sense,
Yeah.
right?
It
No, I
looks
understand
like
what
it
you're
looks
saying.
like they've evolved their engine. It looks like it's the same engine at its core, but it's allowing for far more movement, far more dynamism in the world. Far
Yeah.
more particle
There's-
effects. Yeah.
There's also far more items in the world as well. Like the density of the world, you're seeing more things per inch. Like
Yep.
so yeah, definitely. There's been a change to the aesthetic. I hope that doesn't mean that the classic Yakuza or Like a Dragon or any of those other games. I hope that those still have the feel that they do. I'm super glad that this looks as incredible as it does. But as a fan of the Yakuza games, I don't really want them to change.
Real quick, I don't
Because
know if you guys have
every
seen the TV
Yakuza
show,
game, you will start
The
it and it'll be
Warriors.
the hypest thing on the planet, and by the end of the Yakuza game, you will be crying man tears because of just like everything that has happened inside of the game and the relationships, and you have like grown men like breaking down. Like, it is high level drama, and I'm a huge fan of it. I never want it to change.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. What were you going to say, Kay?
Oh, my bad. I was quickly saying that because of the time period and the way the world looks, it's reminding me very much of the TV show that you can now watch on Netflix, actually, called The Warriors, a TV show that was written by Bruce Lee, of all people. The show is of his writings that they turned into a full show. It's a production company by his family, and it really looks exactly like this. Like,
Wow.
It has this kind of a style and this kind of energy, hard edge, like hardcore, fighting kind of thing.
Might
If you
have to
haven't
check
seen
it out.
Check it out.
Yeah.
It's very cool. Yeah.
Definitely. Slow, did you have any thoughts on this, Slow-Mo?
I have never been really into these kind of games, but I do like the glow up. I am somewhat disappointed it's Unreal Engine, but maybe by the time this comes out, Epic would have fixed their game engine so that all the issues that people have been having.
It works
with Unreal
flawlessly.
Engine.
What are you saying?
Okay.
It works. It's one of the
Okay.
most efficient engines in the game.
Wow.
Like,
Look live.
Now I wish our brother Sycamore was here to provide his catchphrase.
That's Cap.
that's Cap.
There you go.
Yeah, that's definitely Cap. That's definitely Cap.
So,
No,
this-
I mean, outside of that, I now knowing that it's Unreal Engine, and clearly this is just like an in-game. This isn't running on any hardware, but once it starts to get like running on hardware, then you got to start doing what all developers have to do. They have to start, cutting corners. Okay, so maybe we shouldn't have this many NPCs out on the street because it's tanking frame rates, or it's bottlenecking the CPU to have this many NPCs doing this many things. Or maybe we can keep all these NPCs, but we can't have them doing all of these different routines that we had originally had. We may have to cut that in half in order to have the CPU be able to write all these instructions and not have it, basically be an unplayable experience. These are kind of the things that, when you have an engine that has some limitations at this point in time, you need to, and they all do, they all have their strengths and weaknesses, but these are the things you're going to have to take into account.
Yeah.
And then specifically with Unreal Engine 5, you're dealing with Lumen, which is ray trace global illumination. So a lot of what people are finding so fascinating about the visuals here comes with a cost. And you gotta have hardware that can actually handle that cost. Clearly not an AMD-based hardware. That would definitely not be.
What is with all this slander? There is all this slander for no reason.
Slander? Is this slander? Is it, or is it true?
This is absolute defense.
That's all I got.
What they are strays. That's what's happening. Strays coming out of nowhere.
Another thing I like about this main character, I'm sure they'll change the design or something, but black and red are my favorite colors, so I'm drawn to that naturally. I just wonder how this is going to play into the Yakuza world. It's definitely going to be Yakuza based. I'm not even deluding myself into thinking otherwise. I just don't know how they're going to play it. The speculation is going to be the formation of Oni. The Oni.
That would be incredible, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Did they tell us that this is in the Kansai region, aka like
I don't know if they broke it
Okinawa?
down. Let me look into it. I don't think they announced where it was yet. I don't think they gave much detail outside of it being set in 19.
Bro, if this is the beginning of the Oni and how this all starts, that would be absolutely incredible. It kind of gives me the same feeling that Mafia,
the old
that
World
new
Country
Mafia game.
Yeah.
The old country. It's like, is this going to be the establishment of like some of the things that we know from the other games? Who knows?
And you said what area of Japan? Kansai?
Yeah, the Kansai region, aka like Okinawa and like that kind of areas.
Let me see.
So is it in Okinawa or is it in like Tokyo or Osaka or something?
Let's see. So it says here, it's set in 1915, of course. Yeah, they didn't go into much detail. It just says it's a new game set in 1915 Japan. That's about all we know about it right now. It's probably safe to say it's an action-based game in the vein of classic Yakuza, or more recently Judgment. Other than blah, blah, blah. And yeah, they don't have any specifics.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's fine. That's fine. Like I said, this game's probably not going to come out for a very long time. So I am more than okay with just waiting for it. We're going to get more than enough Yakuza games. RGG continues to pump those games out. And like, we just got Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, which was like a 100-hour, like serious RPG. Like, and game was incredible. The story was incredible. The characters, the acting, loved it. And now we're going to get the super silly version of that with like Pirate Yakuza next year.
Yeah, so true. How
and-
are they putting all these games out like that so quick? I
well,
guess
part of it was because of their Dragon engine. It's because their engine was really made to reuse assets a lot. So they're reusing a lot of old assets as a way to just kind of set up stories. Because when you have all these things that you have to do, you have to set up systems, you have to set up whatever. Like, they recognize that people kind of don't care if, hey, that's the same trash bin that you've used in the last 4 games. Like, nobody cares.
Yeah, that's
right?
minuscule. Right.
So that's part of the reason why they're able to kind of iterate so quickly, is because all they have to worry about is like story, characters, yada yada. They don't have to do as much work on just setting up the backdrop and getting all the environments. No, they already have a lot of those. And the benefit is that when you have the large model of Kamurocho, you can subsequently be like, all right, well, we're going to close off this shop and this shop and this shop, and these places aren't going to be available. But now we're going to open up these new entire sections that weren't available before. And now all we have to really do is create the interiors of all those places.
Right. Okay.
So-
they do quick turnarounds, and it's crazy to see how much RGG was in all over this showcase yesterday, this award show. Like, they were on everything from Virtual Fighter to this to something else too that they had the name on. I can't remember right now.
They had another thing that I can't remember.
Yeah.
But the fact that Virtua Fighter is back, and the fact that Harada-san on Twitter, main producer creator of Tekken, Tekken and Virtua Fighter have always had like a pretty strong rivalry.
True.
So he's hyped because he's like, let's go, get back in the ring.
That's
like
dope.
he wants Virtual Fighter to be good, so that way people are comparing them again, because those used to be like kind of two titans in that space.
Yeah, makes sense. That's dope. I like that. I wonder if he's still going to put in that Waffle House into the next one. DLC.
Bro, people keep asking him to put Waffle House in Tekken, and I think at some point he's gonna break and do it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be. I remember him asking about it to learn about what's the Waffle House. That was hilarious. That would be funny if he does it. So Slow, my brother Slow-Mo, what will be one of your games, your major games, and that surprised you or that you loved from the showcase? From the award show. I keep saying showcase.
I'll go in a little bit of different direction with a indie studio on their first game. It was called Dispatch.
Yes, sir.
We saw it. It was the game that Aaron Paul and Lauren Bailey were showing a lot of chemistry at the same time. But that
was something else.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. But they both are voice acting in the game, and essentially what it is, it's a very seems to be different experience, because it seems to be combining a lot of different elements from different kinds of games. But the premise is you have this superhero who got severely injured, and now he can no longer be a hero. But instead, he's now taking this job as a dispatcher, dispatching other heroes out into the city to take care of the same kind of things that he used to do. And that's essentially what the gameplay is. You're managing this team of like dysfunctional heroes. You're strategizing, trying to figure out the right hero to send in the right situation. And meanwhile, you're dealing with politicking in the office, relationships, like sub quest lines and stuff like that. And people may recognize this, but Ad Hoc, even though they are a brand new studio, their studio is comprised of former Telltale developers that worked on A Wolf Among Us, that worked on Tales from the Borderlands, like the best of Telltale's catalog. These guys worked on, so you can anticipate that like there will be definitely your decisions will have an influence in the story. It will affect relationships, allegiances, that kind of stuff. Like it's going to be, and to me, I'm very, very excited for this, and I feel like it's going to be somewhat of a sleeper next year.
I can see
in
that.
addition to the voice cast being fantastic, and they got Aaron Paul, they got Lauren Bailey, they got Jeffrey Wright, who's fantastic. They got some of the other voice actors they use for some of the older games, like The Wolf Among Us, and I think it's going to be really good.
It looks dope. I like the animation style of it. It looks like it could be a cartoon already. Looks really good. Crazy voice acting, voice cast. I guess Jeffrey Wright alone is like Jeffrey Wright is top tier. Like you can, it's hard to get better than that. And you could definitely see this romance angle they have. I wonder if they'll have it where you can romance other characters, because I did see that other little sexy demon looking girl. I'm like, hold on, who's that? So, I'm just saying.
I'm already looking.
I'm looking. I'm like, hold on now. But no, this looks really dope, man. This actually took me by surprise too. And it reminded me of some comic I read some time back. I cannot think of it what it is right now, but it puts me in mind of it, where the person was like managing the heroes in a certain way like that too. But crazy talent from all these 3 different games, like you mentioned, The Walking Dead, Borderlands, and at least Tales from the Borderland, and Wolf Among Us. So
the first one, by the way, there's like shout out to Randy Pitchford being the guy, the kind of guy that he is, which is that's not a compliment, but they instead of calling New Tales from the Borderlands Tales of the Borderlands Season 2 or 2, he calls it the New Tales from the Borderlands, which I thought was just a means of, he knew it was trash, and he was trying to confuse people looking for the original, which is fantastic. That they now have the publishing for with his company, and just trying to confuse people into buying the game, which I don't think worked. But
a little slick move. There she is. That's what I was talking about. But yeah, what did you guys have any thoughts on this? Kay and Lucius, did you have any thoughts on it? You excited for this? No, don't care, indifferent?
I think it's like outstanding. Like all the things that Slobo was talking about, I completely agree. It looks very unique. It looks very stylized and stylish. It's about an interesting story and about interesting people. So yeah, man, like it had me from day one. As soon as I saw it, I knew this was on the list.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, this is definitely like in my top 5 of things that interested me when I was watching this. This is an incredible premise with what seems to be a fantastic cast, and the gameplay, we'll see how the gameplay works. If it's just simple dispatching, it seems as if there are some mini games here and there in where you may be able to kind of help with the process during the dispatch. So I hope there's more elements to that than just the dispatch itself. But yeah, this seems like it's going to be a real fun game. It could be a sleeper because, you know, a lot of people, if you're not like running around punching things yourself, some people aren't big fans of that. But I think that this game deserves your attention.
You know, that's a good point.
I can see it having a mixture of, maybe you're not walking around as much as, like you would say, like in the Telltale game, people call it the walking simulator, because you do a lot of walking and talking and then making decisions and doing a few puzzles here and there. But imagine if you are that dispatcher, like the character, and then like you're dealing with like kind of pressure or stress of making sure that you get the right people in the right place, and then it's like time sensitive as well. So it's like, oh well, I need to get a hero here, but then now there's another call coming in, the bridge is about to fall, I need that hero here, to take care of the bridge, but that has to happen in 2 minutes. So can I actually substitute someone else here in this other situation where these guys are robbing a bank or something, and that actually work out? Like, you're trying to juggle, multiple issues and multiple emergencies all at once. Like, they could be able to create tension without you actually having to get up out of your seat. Of course, we're not getting up, but like, your character actually, like, being the one to punch supervillains and stuff like that, which maybe he ends up doing that at some point as well. We don't know, but I just think that the whole premise of it on the surface is very unique and different, and I love seeing stuff like that, because I get sick and tired of seeing the same things over and over again in games.
No, I agree with you there. I will take a heed to what Lucius pointed out, though, because I wonder how, because this is not a game-as game here. So I wonder how that plays out when you're, like you said, if it does go the way you're saying, that's pretty unique too. So I'm interested in seeing how they handle it. I like the story-based element of it. This is what gets me with these type of games. Is like, what is the story? I care more about the story than almost everything else except gameplay. Those are the top two things that have to be right for me. And it seems like the story is going to be solid. Voice cast is solid. Now we got to see what the gameplay is going to be like. So, them making the games they've made, it seems like it's going to be just a point and click kind of thing. I just don't know how that's going to work with this, but we'll see. Yeah. And okay, so Kay, going back to you, your second favorite game, or I guess best game, if you will, for the show. What was
second
it for you?
favorite game? So and again, as I said at the beginning, this is rising in hype level. So the last one will be my most hype. My second to most hype on this one would be Onimusha: Way of the Sword.
Yes, sir. Let me pull
Man, oh man. I remember playing Onimusha as a kid. I remember, and of course, if you recall those days, those graphics left a lot to the imagination, but you still felt smooth. You felt like a smooth assassin when you're able to move through that world and be able to do what you're doing. And like as all graybeards can attest to the great old franchises they recall from yesteryear, you want Unreal Engine 5 levels of paint
fidelity
and paint washed all over your favorite franchise.
Yes.
And it looks like systematically the Capcom and Sega are all doing that to a lot of our great favorite franchises. So while I was still hoping for more information on something like Jet Set Radio Future or something, because that's also being remade, this is really, really excellent in my opinion.
Yes, sir. I want to make sure I highlight the point that somebody was calling out, that's Cap, that's not Onimusha. And it absolutely was Onimusha.
The voice is great.
I won't say any names. Those who know. Those who don't, slow. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, it rhymes, so I have to say something. What's you guys take away from this? It looks excellent. I'm loving the way it looks. Obviously, like Kay said, visually it's far more impressive than what the little standstill, like static backgrounds that they had in the past. I mean, it looks kind of Souls inspired in some ways. What do you guys think about this? Either one of you guys can go first. I don't care who. Like, you guys jump in and do your thing.
I don't have much to say because I'm probably not gonna play this.
What?
Yeah, hey, look, man, I understand, that may be shocking. I might be burnt out on these kind of games, I think.
There's a lot of them coming out now.
Yeah, and I noticed it this year, because typically I would have been all over Rise of the Ronin, but I was just like, And then, after playing Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, which I thoroughly enjoyed, but after that, I was just like, melee focused games. Like, okay, I played the first Berserker test that was on Xbox.
I did too, yeah.
Excellent. It was very well done. I still was like, after about an hour, I'm not like done with these kind of games. I just think I'm burnt out on them.
Yeah.
And for me personally, I'm not the kind of person that can just play them, nonstop. I can play first person shooters until the day I die, every single day. But I just don't have that same level of passion for these kind of games. And so for me, it looks good. I just think I might just have to wait on it.
Okay, that makes some sense. What
For
about you,
me, it's
Lucius?
going to, yeah, for me, it's going to depend on when it comes out. Because 2025 is going to be insane. We thought that GTA 6 was going to be the main hurdle, but man, we got so much stuff coming in 2025 that things are going to get dropped. Things are not going to get bought because at the end of the day, I only have so much time, and I'm only going to buy. I'm not Everborn frivolous spender Saga, where he will buy games that he has no intention of ever playing. I only buy games that I know for a fact I am going to play. At least the $60-$70 titles. I am more than willing to buy games for like $10-$20 and then never play them. Obviously, I think all gamers have that problem. Or if it's just like a smaller indie that I want to show support for like $30 or something like that, I obviously do that sort of stuff. But if it's for like bigger games, $60-$70 games, unless there's a guarantee that I'm going to be playing that game, I'm not touching it. I'm not going to be buying it. So, but I saw the game. It looks high quality. If it comes out during a time where I am either not exhausted from playing games like that, or I have a period of time where it's just like, oh, I have 2 weeks and I'm pretty sure I could probably beat this game in like 2 weeks. In that situation, totally gonna play it, yada yada. But yeah, just aesthetically, it looks fantastic.
Yeah, for sure. It's as I listen to you guys, I think I do understand where you're coming from with that, where you feel burned out on, because I felt like that with Liza P. I still haven't played it. I was like, I want to play it, but it's like, do I want to play that though? And even with Erdtree, like I think I own it. I'm pretty sure I do. I think I bought that on some type of special sale ahead at one point for like a few dollars off or something, and I still haven't touched it. So I think I definitely have that same feeling and just didn't realize that's what it was. I'm kind of like,
yeah,
because you gotta have to.
You have
For
to
me,
be
you
in-
have to
you
be in
have
that
to be in the
mood.
mood.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you do.
You can't be in a situation, and like, we're all adults here, right? I can't be in a situation where I am playing a game that like constantly frustrates me if there are other things in my life that I have to take care of. If I'm good, if life is good right now, and I'm able to take more stress on myself without yada yada, sure, throw an Elden Ring in front of my face, throw a Souls game in there. I could end up beating it, yada yada. But in tumultuous times, I'm trying to keep my head above water. I ain't got time for that.
Yeah.
I ain't got time for like wanting to throw a controller or something like that. Like, no.
Yeah, for sure. And this would be, I think it's Lucius. It's your turn for a pick, actually. And
My pick will be very fast because we didn't really see much, but this is a series that I've always been a pretty big fan of, and I would like to do a replay of these games. Mafia: The Old Country. This looks like it's going to be incredible. It's visually stunning. It seems to have a character that is both like gentle and chaotic. So it feels like there might be a very good story there. And the entire something about crime families, I'm always going to be a huge fan of. Like, not in real life, but like, as an entertainment medium, like that's just something about like organized, like family-based crime, and where you're doing terrible things, but you're like also supporting like your grandmother and like making sure that it's
hey ma.
Exactly that dynamic. For some reason, I just love I don't know why, but I just love it.
I feel you on that, actually.
So yeah, like I'm a huge fan of the Mafia series. Mafia 3, it's either Mafia 3 or Mafia 2 that were my favorite. Mafia 1 was also good, but like 2 and 3 were just incredible. So I'm hoping that that this new one is as good as 2 and 3, so that way it can continue my positive perception of the series.
Yeah, for sure. What about you guys, Slow and Kay? What's your thoughts on this Mafia, the old country that the guy hit the little pretty boy we get to run around with on horses and all that?
A very small, teeny tiny place in my heart felt bad. Not bad, but just a little bit like, man, I wish I would have seen more stories from Clay. But
yeah,
I I am a huge Mafia fan. I think even the old school, like before they remade them and they look amazing now.
Mm-hmm.
Like I played through all of the 360 Mafia games, you know what I mean? The old school versions. And as they've remade them, they look amazing. And of course, this new one looks like it's following that tradition of that high fidelity, real storytelling thing. You know, they're taking we all know this started off as a derivative of a GTA spin-off kind of a thing, right? And they as games like Saints Row moved in one direction, these guys moved in a different direction. Mm-hmm. And I really like the niche that they have found for themselves, which is, it is kind of GTA like, but obviously with the Mafia theme, and they're really solidifying themselves in this hard knocks kind of heavy storytelling. I loved what they did in Mafia 3. So like for me, this is day one, man. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, 100%. I'm wondering, did they ever announce what engine they're using for this? Because I don't know.
You already know. Cut it out.
I'm just trying to figure it out because it looks so magnificent. It might challenge my favorite engine. That's what I'm thinking, but I don't. What engine are they using? Is Slow?
All these games are in engine, Unreal Engine, which they gotta be in engine because on in hardware it ain't gonna look like that. We all know it. So we can cut the cat.
So you saying this? So Slow, you're saying this game is in Unreal Engine 2? Is that what you're telling me? This is also an Unreal Engine 5 game right here. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that
maybe.
is.
Wow.
Maybe that's the case.
Wow. So much.
Terrible.
It's like it's like it's destined to be you. I don't know what it is. It's like
not only are we feeding the game engine beast, we're also feeding this man's ego. We need to stop.
I know, right?
I remember having that debate.
He's gushing over in-engine, basically CGI footage here, and not a single game running on anything. The only one that showed any running on anything was was Witcher 4 on a GPU that's not even announced yet.
That's how powerful.
Yeah, they got the 5090 from Nvidia early, just so that way they can run that thing.
Right.
That's the power that's inside of Unreal. You got to have an Unreal, device to run it too. That's
man. Anyway,
as
look.
a wise man that we all know once said, "Cut the cap."
Cut the cap.
Yeah.
Well, what's your takeaway?
I thought it looked good.
Yeah.
Just the premise of it and how they're kind of like going back to the roots of things. I think that's pretty cool. I played some of Mafia Definitive Edition. I thought it was all right, but a bit some of the game design a bit like not obsolete, but kind of just
It's
what people aren't
cumbersome.
doing
Some
today.
of the things are cumbersome.
Yeah.
It's outdated.
Yeah, very dated. And Mafia 3 is good. Very underrated game. Mafia 3 is. So I'm interested in this one. I definitely want to play this because it seems to, like story-wise, to be hitting all the story beats that I love from the kind of stories that I enjoy. And so yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, if I had to say what's my favorite in the series, it's tough. Part 3, I think, just had the best mechanics out of all of them, which is obvious. I mean, it's more modern, right? So I liked all the characters, but I will say, outside of Lincoln in 3, my man in the first game, I liked him a lot and was so salty. And I'm not going to go further than saying I'm salty, but you know what I mean when I say that. I was salty about that. Like, why? But anyway, yeah.
Some things need to be done.
Some things need to be done. And then you play on as anyway. Let me shut up. What's this? Yeah, okay. So MJ's joining in on a hate apparently. Our brother MJ Dark sends in a generous $1.99 donation. He says, needing the hand of God to run Unreal Engine 5 cap. That sounds like hate. And if my favorite technology, the Switch, couldn't run something like this, I would understand that too and probably be mad. So I get it, MJ. It is what it is. But who were you on? I believe it was you, Lucius. Because Kay, did you give up Mafia? Who suggested Mafia?
I said Mafia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So it's on Slow-Mo then. So Slow-Mo, what's your second one right here? So we're rounding up.
Yeah, I'll do this one, and then I do have to run because I got to pick these kids up from school.
Okay.
But my second one would actually be Borderlands 4.
Nice. I just came across.
And so Borderlands 4, I'm a massive Borderlands fan. Like I think Borderlands 2 is the greatest looter shooter ever. I when it came out, I think that's all I played for like 2 years straight, and just like doing different builds and different setups for all the different vault hunters, the skill trees among the best skill trees out there. Handsome Jack, one of the best antagonists ever in a video game.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Borderlands. Every time they come out with a new edition, it's the same games all together, just a new collection. I always end up going, why do they keep doing this? And then I buy it. So I say all that to say, I was somewhat disappointed with Borderlands 3. I didn't anticipate their antagonist, their big bad, to be as good as Handsome Jack, but it wasn't just that they didn't live up. Those twins didn't live up to Handsome Jack. They sucked. They were annoying.
Yeah,
they weren't funny. And there's three things that a Borderlands series has to have, and it has to have it because it is become a part of the series DNA. And it is considered one of the best games for these things. And so they need to be there. It needs to have unique and powerful guns. Actually, not just unique and powerful guns, but guns and gear, where the combinations of those two things that the community can create completely broken builds that the developers had no idea would be possible with what was created.
Yeah.
It needs to also have skill trees that are so diverse that you can have completely different kind of gameplay with the same vault hunter. For example, in Borderlands 2 with the character Zero, the assassin, you could make him like a melee god where he pops his ultimate and he turns invisible, and every enemy he hits dies immediately, and every kill he gets extends his ultimate so that he basically can wipe out an entire group of enemies all by himself. Or you could have him become a sniper where literally you could walk up to raid bosses that are designed to be fought in a group and just one-shot them. Like, it's just that level of diversity has to be there. And they had that to a degree. They had the guns in Borderlands 3. What they did not have for the third one is the humor. It needs to be the kind of humor that you laugh, but then you realize as you're laughing, that's messed up. I shouldn't be laughing at that. Right. But it's that kind of humor. It's not typical slapstick kind of. It's dark humor that you almost feel bad for laughing about it, but you keep playing the game anyway. And they just did not have that in 3. And honestly, with Gearbox, they're going to have to prove it to me. I don't have confidence that they can deliver that. Ever since Borderlands 3 under-delivered on that aspect, we've now had Tiny Tina Wonderlands, which also in that aspect wasn't very good. We've had the new Tales of the Borderlands, which is awful. And literally anything that has to do with story, characters, and humor, they seem to be incapable of doing ever since they lost the lead writer who did the first 3 games, Borderlands 1, 2, and the pre-sequel. And so until they can prove they can actually deliver on that, I will refuse to be somewhat hesitant to trust them on that aspect. But it's Borderlands, so I'm hyped to play this. I will be there day one. I will be making multiple characters. Forte, my co-host Gaming Forte, my buddies all like, oh, we gotta play this together. Don't be playing without me. I said, Forte, I will have a character just to play with you.
Oh, nice.
I'm also gonna have another character I'm playing by myself because I'm not waiting for you. So they just like I will probably have this game beat in the first 2 days and working on max leveling and build crafting and all that stuff. But that's just I love looter shooters, and this is the king of looter shooters.
That's dope, man. I I have one regret. I played 1 and 2. I own 3. Never played it.
It's not. Yeah. 3's not that good.
It's not that good.
It's better in gunplay and visuals, and that is
that's about it.
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
Okay.
It's got
it has worse gun selection. Like the main characters are worse. The side characters are worse. The humor isn't as good. One of the best jokes in Borderlands. Very simple joke. You run into this guy. And he keeps screaming at you. He's like, shoot me in the face. Shoot me in the face. Shoot me in the face. And then you're just like, bro, you're so fucking annoying. And then you shoot him in the face. And as soon as the bullet hits his face, it just like the smallest sound of thank you comes out. And I died laughing for like 10 minutes. I died laughing for 10 minutes, bro.
Dude, before I go, the funniest thing, there were two funniest things, but they're both Handsome Jack dialogue. In the very beginning of Borderlands 2, there's a character that was in 1, and she's not present. You don't know what happened to her. You find out she died, and then you find these audio logs of how she died. And so she was running this community, this city. And when Handsome Jack and Hyperion, the corporation, come in, they basically ran everyone off the planet out of any kind of established fortified place. And she's trying to get them to safety. And Handsome Jack is like, they're on a train. They stop the train. Handsome Jack comes in and he's talking to everyone. And then he's talking to her. And now bear in mind, half of her face is all scarred up because this Pandora, the world is a very harsh world. And so he's like, he's talking to her. He's being very polite, even though he's definitely going to kill them all. And then he goes, oh my, what happened to your face? And then she goes, oh yeah, my husband bought me a skag pearl as a gift, but didn't realize the pheromones attracted skags, and they ripped up my face. And then he was like, oh my God, that's horrible. Where's your husband now? And she's like, oh, he's dead. He was like, oh, that's so sad. Well, now you got something in common. Pop straight blows her head off immediately, and then
hilarious.
Just starts cackling.
Hilarious.
Cackling, and I'm just sitting there and I'm just like, first off, I'm horrified. I remember that character from the first game, and then I didn't realize I'm laughing as he's laughing because it's so daggone hilarious. And then he's like, then he goes to his partner and goes, kill these savages. It's just so the humor is so ridiculous. There's another one. I'll say this real quick before I go. Handsome Jack is talking to you. He'll call you up in the middle of the game and just start talking smack to you. And
that's
then
the best part of the game. That's the best part of the game, bro.
Yeah. By the way, the voice actor ad-libs a lot of those lines that people love. And so he's talking about this story about how he's comparing you to some dude who tried to kill him with a rusty spoon. And he's like, this guy just starts rushing me with a rusty spoon. So of course, I take the spoon and I pop his eyeballs out. And he's just running around like, wow, I can't see. And he's bumping into stuff. It's so funny. His kids are all like, wow. And he's just like, and he's like, moral of the story is you're a bitch. And it's just like,
I think I remember that one.
I'm like, this guy is amazing. This writing is so good. And there's zero of that. It's like they tried in Borderlands 3. It's zero of it in Borderlands 3, but it comes off so forced and so cringe. Even to how they killed off a particular character, and then it's like the game is mocking you about it. But it wasn't like, oh, I'm so motivated now to kill the villains. It was just like, you're just annoying.
Yeah.
It's not as good. So they need to deliver on that. And Hopefully they do, but it's
Definitely.
Gear. I don't know. I
So
don't know about Gear.
I know your third was Splitgate 2. Looking at your Twitter now, so that was your third.
Oh yeah.
But
Splitgate 2.
Yeah.
I love my first person shooters.
Yeah, definitely.
That one's like Halo with portals. It's pretty awesome.
I remember there was a big blow up about it on Twitter when people were playing against PlayStation guys and Xbox guys. I remember that part one at least.
Yeah.
And Xbox guys won, by the way. Just want to throw it out there.
Yeah, I had a good time playing that game. If you don't learn the portals, you could be fine in the earlier lobbies. I remember it vividly because they kind of try to protect people from the veteran players, because I was playing it on PC before it came to consoles, and so I was already like a veteran player. Like I learned the portals, how to portal quickly, the portals, shooting people through portals, and everyone's on Xbox, PlayStation. It's like, oh yeah, I'm so good at this game. I'm such a good first person shooter. They fighting a bunch of bots and other new players. As soon as they hit level 15, all of a sudden I don't hear to see them talking about Splitgate no more. What happened? Where'd you go? What happened? Oh, I know what happened. Yeah, you ran to those veterans, and you didn't realize who shot me. Where'd that come from? It's just it's a very different kind of game, but it's very unique. And I think that when it comes, if you're gonna do an arena shooter nowadays, you gotta have it be unique.
Okay, yeah.
And if it's not unique, it's not gonna go anywhere. But gentlemen, gotta go. You guys have a great rest of the show. I will be listening as I'm driving down the road to pick these wild animals up. Y'all have a good one, man.
You too, brother. Thanks again for joining.
Take it easy, bro.
No problem.
So we had Borderlands here, and Kay, now we're on your final one, and then we'll get to you, Lucius, and then I'll just ask you guys the score of the show, and I guess any one random question about the nominees and people who won. We don't really have to, but yeah. Kay, what's your third? What's your third best? Or your top one, I guess.
On my list, by barometer of hypeness, I am most hyped for Intergalactic, the Heretic Project.
I knew that was going to be it.
Anyone that knows me knows I'm all about that space. I love space games. I'm a big fan of space games. Beyond that, what I saw from this was this unique take on retro sci-fi. It speaks to that Back to the Future energy. It speaks to and we've discussed this in the chat, in some of the private chats that we've had. You can see a lot of those really interesting influences being reflected on screen. You can see a lot of very interesting reference points to your favorite animes of old, all right there. You can tell that these are made by 80s and 90s babies, hardcore.
100%.
And they're really putting some interesting work in there. Since this trailer has come out, I've seen folks like do a shot-for-shot rendition on Akira, where you can see like they took some of the components of this trailer like straight out of Akira, right? Like straight up out of Akira, and they're doing super interesting things there. So like not much has been shown. I think the protagonist is badass looking. I can't wait to play with her as a protagonist. Those who forget, those who don't remember, may have forgotten the fact that they know her in Naughty Dog games because she was the bad guy in Uncharted. Same character model. So
she was also in like different TV shows too. Like, what was it?
Oh yeah, she's an actor. Absolutely. She has the skills, for any kind of serious role. She got the chops. She can get it done. So at least in that respect, there's nothing to be worried about with that. I think it looks cool. I think its reference points are right there. You can see them, but they're really nice. I'm excited for it. I'm excited for the style of it and what it could bring about. I know I got pushed back from it, but I'm going to continue to harp on it to see, not harp, but until they show us more different aspects of it.
Right.
I love, and maybe it is because when we were young, we did not know the reference points either. But I get my innocent, nostalgic mind sometimes makes me feel like when we were kids, the new IPs we saw were new IPs and genuine ideas, and the current crop of new IPs we're seeing, you can really trace them to a derivative source, whereas you couldn't do that so easily before. You know what I'm saying? Like the elevator pitches are now very clearly, oh, it's this game and that game. Whereas when we were kids, those games did not have such an easy reference point to call from. It feels like there was more craft and more creativity on display.
Let me
Now,
quickly speak on that.
Go ahead.
I think part of the reason why that happened is happening now is because gaming has matured as a piece of media, as an art form, and because of that, they can now reference things inside of that art form rather than referencing things outside of that art form. I'd imagine a lot of the games that we played as kids were references to books or movies or TV shows that we did not know. And like you said, you potentially didn't know the reference form, but the reason why right now, because you still have games that reference like real life or books or movies and stuff, but the reason why you're kind of getting the self-referential part of it is we have now hit that maturity inside of the industry, and where finally
there's a maturity in the industry that understood. Yep. You make a good point, Lucius. I completely agree with that. And I guess I bring that up to because I appreciate what they're doing here, but some pieces of it felt to me like, oh my God, what's the name of that Netflix movie that came out not too long ago that was supposed to be like rated R Star Wars?
Oh,
Rebel Moon.
Rebel Moon, yeah.
Rebel Moon, yes.
Yep.
Like, and I'm not, and don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to slander this game, the potential ideas on display in any way, but because Rebel Moon was marketed as a rated R Star Wars, and you could definitely see where that was coming from, and the some of the style they used, and some of the lineage, and some of the iconography, right? It, not that it took me out, but it made me feel like it's disappointing that we must have a touch point like this. Why can't we do something so far beyond that it brings fresh ideas to the table rather than derivatives of existing ideas, right? It's a tiniest of nits that I'm picking here. Let me be clear. I've already spent my first time on this talking about how hype I am for this game. This is my highest level of hype. So
don't want to tear it down.
I'm not saying no. I'm not tearing it down at all.
You look at it a very nuanced way. That's all it is.
Exactly.
What engine, by the way, would you say, Kay? What engine do you think they're using for this? This wouldn't be Decima.
Is this one of those? Is this one of those? We don't know. We don't know yet.
We don't know. I don't think so.
We don't know yet. Yeah. This might be so. Huge games of this type, they tend to, and it's changing in the industry as we all know. But big games of this type tend to breed custom engines. Right? Yeah. So I would. It'll be interesting to see more interviews, to see more background on it, to see get some of those details. But yeah, big games like this tend to breed custom engines. So this might be the same. It might be the same engine that Uncharted and or The Last of Us was.
I would think it's the Last of Us 2 engine, just based off the character model. It looks familiar.
Exactly. Yeah.
I've seen a few actors, by the way, they have in here. I know you mentioned Kanjani, who they show here. She, the lady with the patch, she reminded me of female Snake Plissken. That's what I called her.
Yes.
I guess it also has that 80-esque feels with like Metal Gear when you're talking to what's his name? I forgot the general's name. You speak with him and it's like, Snake, I need you to blah blah blah. Yep. It definitely gets off that vibe too.
And then she's a bounty hunter, and she's hunting interesting characters. Who's she hunting? Camille Nanjiani.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is going on? There are more layers to this.
I would bet money he's going to be one of her crew or something like that. How
Absolutely. I think she'll have he must have a strong role.
Yeah.
You don't spend that much to get that level of notoriety and then make it a throwaway.
100%. Yeah, and it looks like he's worth 100 million or other. Was that what I just saw?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever their currency is. Yeah, absolutely.
Very unique setting. They're using licensed music. It looks like they got licensing with Porsche, although it could be a stand-in for now just because of the trailer. She has the Adidas on, has the 80s aesthetics, which I know all of us love. Sony right here playing it.
I appreciate the correct pronunciation of Adidas.
Adidas, thank you. You know, have to keep it right. Lucius, what about you, brother? What were your
These
takeaways?
Adidas snobs.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah, exactly. They don't know anything. They don't know anything. What about you, Lucius? What was your takeaway for this? It looks great. Did you have any reservations? Like you feel away how they might not land, or what was your thinking? Oh, Lucius, you still there? You probably have to step away.
Oh,
Oh no, sorry.
He's very on
I
mute. There you
accident. I was still muted.
Oh, okay.
I am incredibly excited for this. This gives me Outlaw Star vibes. This gives me Akira vibes. This gives me Cowboy Bebop vibes, and I'm all for it. I don't know what the rest of it's really going to look like. Obviously, the gameplay may not encompass as much space stuff. You might just be on the ground all the time. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But the aesthetics are exactly where I want them to be. It's kind of retro futuristic with the Porsche spaceship and the like multi-rung CD player by Sony. Like all of that looks really, really cool. Yeah, we'll see. Obviously, there's no real date for this, and this was just an announcement trailer, so I wouldn't really expect this for probably another 2 to 3 years.
Yeah. Now, we were talking about this on Discord with a bunch of the fellas, and I think it was suggested that this might land in like 2028, which I think is way too far out.
That would be pretty far out, but they might want
say-
to push it for their next generation, for the PS6.
They did say that this game was developed. The development process started in 2020, and this is Naughty Dog, and their average cycle for game development is like 6-7 years, right? So we're by that barometer, we're in year 4 now, so we're at least 2 to 3 years away.
Yeah, but that being said, they haven't come out with anything in a while, even more than that 6-7 year. Like, so I think that they really need to lock in. Sony's not doing super well financially. Like, they're still Sony as a corporation isn't doing well financially. PlayStation is doing well financially. But when you have just the PlayStation arm that's doing well inside of your company, and most of the other arms aren't doing anywhere near as well, you can't continue to rely on that. So Sony as an organization needs to figure some stuff out. But until they do, that's going to put more and more pressure on their studios to be able to release products on time.
Yeah, for sure.
And so that's why I would imagine that 2028 would be probably beyond the bend, where like Sony would not be okay with that.
Yeah, I would think that as well. Like, I just think that's a little too far out. But then I also have to take into mind of Cory Barlog's game, and it's also spacefaring. I also made this connection, and I don't know if you guys felt that way, but it seems like Sony, I don't know if they had put a bit of a mandate to go space-based with their games, or I know they don't really mess or influence their creators, but it just seems a little too coincidental. You have this space-based, you had Concord, you have Barlog's game, you had Destiny, you have Marathon. I think even Fair Games might not be Earth.
Are you insinuating, sir, that there's a mandate from on high asking them to satiate a certain audience versus another?
That's what it kind of
another
feels.
Subject that we could be talking about right now. I'm not trying to drop any bombs.
Oh no, drop the bomb. Hey, listen, I borrowed Everborn's tinfoil kufi for this moment.
That's right.
Definitely drop any theories and thoughts you have, for sure. Feel free.
Oh no, I just find it interesting that and Lucius, we were talking about this. I'll bring this forward. Find it interesting that the protagonists that are being put forth are all of a certain kind or persuasion. You know what I'm saying? Like
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, 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 no,
No?
no.
No?
No one is insinuating in any shape or form that should be looked at in a negative light. I would say the character that is on display right now on the screen looks real cool, looks really interesting. You know, I'm excited to embody the character and go on adventures with
And her
said character.
spaceship is sweet. Like that's
It's
a
badass,
super
right?
sleek design.
Right.
I love it.
Right, and I appreciate her choice of kicks, right? So it's all good, right? And based on some small evidence on the trailer, she knows how to handle herself, so it should be fun. So it's just a reference point that hey, it is notable, right? As I'm using talking points that were used on me a little while ago. It is notable that it looks like more and more games that are coming out are all seeming to follow a certain criteria.
Yes. And and you've spoken about this before, Keasante, where there are ebbs and flows inside of a market, and where the pendulum swings. There's a reaction to uh, particular characters being kind of the same. Hey, it's always these characters that are the protagonists. Why can't we get somebody else who's just not, a white man with like a grizzly beard and a short haircut? Like, why does it always look like the same guy? And that was kind of in the 360 era / in the PS4, like PS3 era as well. So just like you've said in the past, it might just be a pendulum swing where
Sure.
now we're just seeing a lot of these characters that look similar, but they are different from the other similar thing that we used to see. But rather than the industry all thinking, okay, well, let's have all these different types of characters. Let's have this person and that person and this person and that person. They all somehow accidentally landed all on the same person again.
So I think, and it's super interesting here. I love this conversation because I think it bears an analysis and debate. I honestly think that game development, like specifically AAA, huge monster, Naughty Dog level game development, is itself a very interesting type of time capsule, where the zeitgeist gets captured, right? An idea is put forth. The idea is interesting. People like it. There are many phases in game development, and we've all famously come to know that game development itself is a layer cake where you start with one and you build on top of it, and it makes it very difficult to go back to the bottom, right? Because that's what a layer cake is. So it seems that more and more the zeitgeist and the movements and the entertainment and the conversations of the day get captured in the game, and then it takes them 6-7 years to implement it. And by the time it comes out, maybe that conversation has moved on, or maybe people's feelings towards that time frame and those touch points have changed. But of course, this time capsule took very long to build, so you're now having to adjudicate a conversation of yesteryear. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Absolutely.
I call it the Killmonger haircut problem.
Oh
You know what I'm
boy,
saying?
yeah. There's another instance that happened where the game. That's it. Skull and Bones. That's a game that was in development at that time, and that zeitgeist was, yeah, we love Black Flag, and it took so long for them to get it out that they missed that moment, and now it's like nobody wants to play that. So I definitely get your perspective on that too. Let me ask you guys. There was controversy, and as soon as I saw the character, I knew. The actual actress, I believe her name is Tati Gabrielle. She is Black and Korean. 2 Black parents, but her mother is also half Korean. So you can see it all in her face, by the way. She's very clearly like biracial. But there's hate going on around.
Beautiful, by the way.
Beautiful woman. Now, my one, I don't want to say negative. One thing I would ask, or at least hope that they add, Naughty Dog. It's not really in their wheelhouse to do as far as customization, but I would hope that they add that to really like accentuate this game, because I look at games like Stellar Blade, for instance. It had a lot of decent, not a lot, but it had decent customization. Well, it's got more now because now you can dress up as 2B and such. But I would hope that they add more customization because one thing I do not care for are bald-headed women characters. I don't know what it is. It just does not sit. I'm bald-headed. I don't need you to be bald-headed too, lady. So I don't know what
You
it
don't
is.
you don't want to be two bowling balls right next to each
I
other,
don't
bro?
want two bowling balls over here. You know what I mean? Strike one. I'm the one.
I must ask. Are you threatened by the shininess of the cue ball? Is her shininess a little shinier?
The
than yours?
shining.
I'm just throwing it out there.
I just feel like it makes her look a bit more dull because you can't really, I guess, character design wise, she just looks flat because of that too, right? When you have hair, you can kind of, or at least customization of hair,
You can customize.
you can make make her
yes,
stand out a bit. And right now, she has the kind of red iconic.
I would not necessarily expect for any customization because this is a Naughty Dog game, so it's like super story oriented. They're trying to tell you a very specific tale, like the sort of person that they're like they've crafted. They want that to like that person to
be the way she
be
looks.
the person in the scenes.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we're going to get that level of customization. I would agree if it was the Cory Barlog game because that's more of a, that like the God of War kind of like that allows for a little more customization.
True.
But not
Yeah.
for like a Naughty Dog, Last of Us style. Which is, I imagine that this is what it's going to be. It's going to be like a Last of Us, super narrative heavy. Sure, there'll be action and there'll be plenty of other things, but I'm expecting what Naughty Dog has been the past 15, 20 years in comparison to what they used to be when they made Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah, definitely. Reading up on a little synopsis of this though, it does seem like they're kind of going out of their wheelhouse, right? At least that's what I took from it. So I'm kind of hoping they go that direction. I don't know. I just like customization in gaming when it comes to this, and it seems like they're trying to make this be the next big thing. So I just kind of hope they really embrace that and go all out. And they might have I'm guessing DLC that has new missions and such, and where she has to go get bounties from wherever. It's built for that. It's just a whole story base of her being a bounty hunter goes into that. Obviously, she has the iconic kind of Akira inspired jacket on right there. She has on the Adidas. Like she has certain qualifiers that help her stand out. But the actual actress, she typically wears her hair blonde, short little pixie cut, and it looks damn good on her. I would just hope that would be one of the styles they would allow for because it just looks too. I think it would look much better than her just being bald. I'll put it to you like that. If she had the blonde hair, I would just say that. But whatever. That's just my one little thought on it. I expect this game to be great because I know somebody was asking, do you think they're going to knock it out? Yeah, Naughty Dog is quality. Naughty Dog is one of the tops of the tops when it comes to
they obsess too much over the details. Like the amount of time that somebody had to put into the rope physics inside of Last of Us Part 2 when they only used that shit like twice was ridiculous.
I saw that behind the scenes on that. Yep. Yeah, and I agree with you. Yodani drops a $2 generous $2 donation. He says, "Nah, Nebula from the Guardians of the Galaxy can get it." Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, but listen, outside of that makeup, she has actual red flowing hair. To be fair, but okay, I get your point. I don't know if I would give it to her though when she in her robotic android form. I don't know. She too. I don't know. She looks kind of creepy a little bit too. She got black eyeballs. I'm not sure if I like her, but I don't know if I would be turned on by her. I'll put it to you like that. Not in Nebula form. He says, "I am a normal man. Allowed one down bad post a month." There you go.
That's crazy. Anyway, this man said, "Long hair don't care."
Long hair don't care.
That's right.
So Lucius, I believe it was your last pick, and then we can just get your scores and we can get out of here.
Yeah, I have to get out of here soon. I will say that very quickly. My third was probably Okami. Very beautiful game with fantastic music. The music performance that they did for the Okami sequel, I'm very excited. I don't know what it looks like because they haven't really shown us much out of it, but just knowing that an Okami sequel is in development makes me really excited because those were just beautiful, eloquent games that it's like you don't really get games like that too often. So very much excited for more of an artistic kind of game for me.
What do you
for
feel about
whenever that-
Kamiya being added to it? Because he has a lot of haters based off his bad past behavior.
Yes, as long as he can make a good game, I don't care.
Yeah.
Let's just say that, right? Like, Kamiya has been well known for his ability to create fantastic action games.
Mhm.
It's just that sometimes he is a pain in the ass to work with. So I hope that he kind of reels back the ego just a tiny bit,
Yeah.
just so that way he doesn't get in his own way. But outside of that, I'm really excited for that game. But that's it for me.
So since Mr. Slowmo Backslap is not here, I will ape his talking point and say, Lucius, basically you're saying you never go full Kojima. I understand.
Yeah, you never want to go. You always need someone to hold back the creatives, right? Like there always needs to be a healthy pushback between the creative side of the company and the financial side of the company. And whenever one side is winning too much, you can very much obviously tell in the final product. If the financial guys win a lot, then the final product's going to be just terrible. And if the artistic guys win a lot, then you're going to have a situation where it's just like an avant-garde experience that barely makes any sense.
So while we get out of here, I'll let this play since it is one of the games on the thumbnail. Elden Ring, Night Rain, should I say? So this is a spin-off co-op game in the same universe. Very interested in this. Definitely getting it. Yeah, I know this might be in contention for a Game of the Year nomination. So super excited for this. All the games you guys listed, I'm excited for those as well. Okami, not the top of my list, but it's up there. I'm definitely going to get it. But yeah, I'm hyped for this too. So
I'm definitely picking it up because I want to see, hey, when they want to make a experience that is specifically co-op and yada yada, like how do they make it much easier? Because there is a more kind of unknown arcane aspect to the co-op in their other games, and that part of that is because of just the story where you have to like get the fingers and yada yada just to be able to summon somebody, and that can be a bit over encumbrance. Like there's just too much that you have to do to be able to kind of get going. But in a game where it's built for this fundamentally, I'm interested in where FromSoft takes this. And I love the fact that, they have Elden Ring, they have this world, they have the dynamics, they have the combat, they have all the things that they already need, and they're just like, let's just take it in a slightly different direction. Let's do something interesting, fun, and new as kind of like a side game, while we still are inside of this beautiful, gigantic world that we created. And I think that that's super exciting.
I'm with you 100%. It also looks like they added a lot more free-form movement to get around. It looks like.
Yes, the movement dynamics seem to be upgraded, and it seems as if all of those characters are classes. So you'll be choosing a class, and it'll come pre-equipped with all the things that you need. And then you do, it seems like boss rushes and maybe some other aspects to the game. So either way, I'm getting it just because I want to see where FromSoft kind of engages next. But yeah, that's kind of where I am.
What about you, Kay, on this? You excited for this? Is this up your wheelhouse? I don't know. Do you really play Souls-like games like that, Kay? Is that really your kind of thing?
I've tried many of a Souls game in my day. I'm not a Soulsborne like player for real like that. I mean, I beat Bloodborne, but it's a different style. I beat Sekiro, but it's a different style.
Yeah.
I put a good amount of time into Elden Ring. I'll be honest, it took some time for me to actually feel Elden Ring before I connected with Elden Ring, until I started getting my master swords, as they were, and walking around housing fools like I am these days.
I'm the man right now.
Yeah, exactly. It didn't start that way, but now I'm the man, as it were. You know what I'm saying? So, So I can understand I can understand the intrigue, and I can understand the why people like these games. About this game specifically, I just think the business model and the idea is brilliant. right? I've always been one that advocated for, if you spend a lot of time building your world, don't just give us a one and done and move on. We want more stories in that world. We
I
want
agree.
DLC in that world.
Yep.
We want, you know what I'm saying? And
Explore with it,
And
yeah.
not only, that's right, keep giving us more in that world. Don't reinvent the wheel just yet, because at the end of the day, that gives you more return on your investment for building that world in the first place. And then that also, in succession, provides me more stories in this world that I love. I'm talking to you there, Halo. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like-
absolutely.
like,
I kind of had a
so
feeling you would kind of side speaking on them a little bit when you were saying that a little bit. I had a feeling it was
Oh, yeah.
kind of. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But that's a prime
Absolutely.
example. You're absolutely correct.
This is
on
a
that.
brilliant idea, right?
Yeah.
Way back in the day when Spider-Man brought out Miles Morales, same idea. I was like, that's excellent, right?
Yep.
Do not reinvent the wheel every time, because that means it's costing you a lot every time. A, and B, it's meaning that I, the consumer, get very few games because you always have to reinvent the wheel. I don't want that. You don't want that.
Yep.
You know, so you have a good working thing here. Give us some dynamism in gameplay. Switch it up a little bit, as you see here with the co-op and all of that. You know, and give us a new world to explore. Absolutely, I think this is brilliant. This is great. You know, will this become my ride or die game? I think I'm a little too old school in that. Like I may give it a shot. Who knows? Depending on how much effort it requires to traverse the world.
Yeah.
Like Lucius was saying a few segments ago rather, you know, when I'm feeling good, I'm up for a challenge. When the world is beating me down and I'm busy and I'm doing things and this and that and the third, and I sit down to play, I'm not there to beat my head against the
I
wall.
hear you.
If you make me,
Yeah.
I'm gonna switch it up real quick. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
we shall see. But it is very impressive what they're doing here, and I for one champion more developers doing this.
Absolutely, 100%. Halo, like you said, is a prime example that needs to be explored. I do not understand why they won't do that, but it seems like they're trying
Just
to
make
go that
some more
direction.
stuff in that world.
That's
You've
all they
already
have to
built
do.
Make
It's
more.
there. Yeah, just use it. They can go back in
You know.
time, use the Covenant however they want. Like, it's so much stuff.
Whatever they want.
Yeah.
You know, you have pieces of the map that clearly we couldn't get to. Why don't you show it to us?
Yep. Stories DLC should have happened, didn't, but oh, hey, it is what it is. But
Yeah.
so, gentlemen, what would you be your score for this? Kay, I'll start with you since you were just saying it. What's your score from 1 to 10 or 8 or whatever, however you want to do it?
Now you're gonna throw virtual tomatoes at me.
Uh-oh.
Here we go. So I can't review this thing like fully as it is as a whole without some caveats, right? As a presentation of cool new games to play in the future, it's a 9 out of 10, baby. It's awesome. It was great. It was so much fun. I enjoyed myself. I've watched it. I've almost watched it all completely again. You know, and I'm excited to even talk about it and re-talk about it, and we'll be going through it again over the weekend and finding more nuggets to discuss. I thought it was a fantastic show.
Yeah.
As a presentation of awesome stuff in our future, right? Solely as a delivery vehicle for awards, I'd say they did better than they've done before, but that was a very low bar to clear. You let the people who you claim to love and want to revere, you let them speak. Congratulations. You know, to me, I don't give you credit for that, because you should let them speak in the first place. You claim to love them. So, like, this year they didn't shoo people off the stage. You know, I appreciate that,
Yeah.
but I don't think it deserves to be commended too much, because that's how it should have been in the first place, right? So I feel, and obviously the ridiculous, I will still contend. I'll put the Kofi hat back on, and I will still contend that some of these choices and some of these options that were given in the game award categories themselves were literally meant for chaos. They were there to present chaos, to present trolling, to present, you know, there's a lot there.
To spice
So-
it up for everybody. That's it. Get
exactly
people talking.
to make people talk, right?
Yeah.
They're trolling. They're purposely leaving. A quick example, just a really quick example. We know by and large the entire voting body of these award shows, right?
Right.
You can take a stab in the dark and you'll probably be right? I made a quick exercise and checked a bunch of different websites, IGN, GameStop, Eurogamer, just to see their most anticipated games, because each of them have it. Each of them have an article right now up saying 2025 most anticipated games. Each of them have overlapping lists featuring a who's who of Xbox games. Each of them, right? Your Doomed, Dark Ages, your Fable. Now, we don't know if they're showing up there, but they were announced with a 2025 moniker. So until it's officially solidified or delayed, they're still 2025 worthy. So many. Clockwork Revolution, all of them. They like every single IGN, Eurogamer, Game Rant, all of them. They all like point out all of these who's who of Xbox games. But of course, in the most anticipated category, not a single Xbox game was mentioned. Like, to me, that was meant for trolling purposes, like hilariously so. So because of that, those kind of things that take away from the merit of the proceedings, in my humble opinion, it drags the whole thing kind of down a bit. So as a whole product, I would give it, even still, I still think it was a strong product beyond the stuff that I would rather fast forward through, which is the awards themselves. So I'll give about an 8 out of 10.
Okay, that was very nuanced and well thought. I had to know that. That's why I wanted you guys on here anyway, because you guys are going to give more than the typical. Oh, I thought it was this. Like, you guys really expound on what you're thinking and give a different perspective. I didn't even look at it. And you actually help me out when you all do this, because it helps me on how I'm going to craft what I want to say too. So shout out to you both.
Sure.
And to Lucius, what will be your score for the whole entirety of the show, or however you want to frame it? What was your takeaway for the show score wise?
I think that I would give it a 9. And everything from the pacing to the things shown, the variety of things shown. Shout out to John Wolf. He wasn't the biggest fan near the middle, and where he called it the Sycamore section, which is where you had a lot of the waifu gotcha games and whatever. But those games pay the bills, and those games, there are people who are actually excited about them. So just because I'm not excited about those particular games doesn't mean that I can just be like, hey, the fact that they are showing stuff like this to me is a positive, even though I don't really care for that sort of stuff, because it shows me that there is a variety of gamers out there that they are trying to interact with and touch and like make sure that those people are seen. And I think that that's important. So, yeah, I'm really, I came out of there with a more positive attitude. I see everything that Kay is saying about the weird dynamic that the Game Awards has always had and has gotten better, but at the end of the day, it still isn't fantastic. I completely understand that. But as someone who was there to hang out with the boys, see some great announcements, see some people give some cool speeches, see like everybody inside of the industry in one place together, celebrating games, and to do that in such a spectacular way on the 10th anniversary of the Game Awards, since it transitioned from being the Spike Lee Game Awards to
Spike Lee.
Yeah, that's how I always remembered it. But it was Spike TV. It was Spike TV. But like as a kid, I always called it the Spike Lee Game Awards. But like those Game Awards to where they are now, as many problems as I have with the industry as a whole and the way that they kind of did everything, when it comes to some of the selection and them just completely continuing to ignore Xbox, X, Y, and Z. We can be in this forever. But the actual show itself as an entertainment medium, fantastic. 9 out of 10. The only thing that I would change is get those Muppets the hell out of here.
Hey, I love the Muppets, man.
You love the K.
It was on point.
You
They
know,
was
Yeah,
on
see,
point. They were
see,
roasting
there's
that dude, man.
see
They were
and this is why
roasting Keely.
and this is why, you know, the show at the end of the day, I'm glad that it has all these little things because people are going to enjoy them in one way or the other, and I
Right.
can't allow my, oh, I don't really like the Muppets that much. Guess what? I could just mute it and then just like
I
wait
was
until,
ready to be.
you know.
I was ready to be on your page about the Muppets until they called him a sellout right in front of his face. I was like,
Yeah, that was
okay,
funny.
they allowed
That
to
was funny.
stay.
yeah. You know, it was weird seeing all those gacha games. We call it the Sycamore section.
The Sycamore section. Yeah,
That's funny.
that's what John Wolfe called it.
Yeah, that's funny. That
yeah, but
was kind
these-
of odd. I will
In
admit.
in the same way that you're seeing a lot of Soulsborne games,
Mhm.
you are seeing a lot of Genshin Impact kind of clones, if you could call them, like the gotcha mechanics with the waifus and like generally good gameplay. Like you're seeing a lot of that, and you're not just seeing it come from the creators of Genshin Impact because they have their own varieties of stuff. They have Zenless Zone Zero, they have Honkai Star Rail, and then they have like another one that's coming out or whatever. So they have a bunch of them, just
Yeah.
that one company. But there's also a bunch of other companies as well. There's like that Project Mugen game,
Oh,
which
yeah.
kind of has that Spider-Man swinging thing.
Yeah,
And
the
I
Nexon
think
game we saw during this.
Yeah. yeah. So like there's a lot of these games kind of coming out now. In the same way that a lot of people are copying the Souls genre, you are seeing a lot of people copying the waifu gotcha
Yeah.
genre because it's doing really well and it makes stupid money.
It's crazy because I even saw people who I didn't think would actually be playing it, like Infinity Nikki. I took over 200 pictures. They posted it on their timeline. I'm like, what? You?
Yeah.
Like, this is a manly kind of
again-
guy. I was
Once
like,
again, it's a combination of good mechanics because at the end of the day, the game has to be good.
Right.
And a lot of the things about these gotcha games is that generally they tend to have rock solid mechanics. And the annoying thing could be like, it's very repetitive because you have to do the same thing over and over again. But typically, the thing that you're doing is enjoyable. So they have a good loop, and then on top of that loop, they have the gambling mechanics on top of it that makes you want to get better stuff, so that way you can get further along in the story.
yeah, that I don't know if I'll ever get into those types of games, but hey, shout out to those who play it. It is what it is. That's
Yeah,
why
I don't
gaming is-
really. I avoid those types of games typically because I just don't need to see my wallet get lighter.
yeah. It reminds me of like that section in Yakuza games where you have to manage the ladies and such in the bar, which I love, by the way. That was actually damn fun.
I love that. I wanna be a girl. Love that. Shit. Love.
Oh, you
love
know
that
you
shit.
loved it
Every time.
Okay, you know you
Every
loved
time
it.
I
It
love
had
that
him
shit.
start to sing.
I spend
you know
way
it is.
too much time in the Yakuza
I
games
swear.
that have that.
I don't know
It-
what it is, but it
it's
had me
so
addicted.
addicting.
It is really.
It's-
I don't know what the hell is up, but that it had me in there. I'm like, hold on, let me put her with this dangling earring for this one, and I'm gonna put her in this
And-
dress. I'm like, why am I doing this?
Oh,
I
It
kid
is
you not,
addicting.
Kay.
It
It
is-
sounds so crazy, but
that-
when you get into it, it is addictive as hell.
That's the problem with the Yakuza. The Yakuza games it's not just one game, it's like 50 games because you have the main game and then you have all the side games that you get to play. And all the side games are typically really addicting. I
Mhm.
spent 10 hours once just playing baseball, like just being at like the batting cages and wasting
Yeah.
my time in the batting cages in a Yakuza game. Like
Damn.
it is a problem.
I took some time playing the golf one. That was actually damn fun.
The
too.
golf one's actually really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. But anyway, as far Donnie says Infinity Nikki could be made better as a shooter, Infinity Blicky, if you will.
Well, okay, so there is one like that, and it's more of a like a mobile game, but like it's just waifus,
Mhm.
and it's the apocalypse, and you're just shooting really big, powerful guns.
Oh, wow.
And of course, they have the jiggle physics and everything. So as you're like,
Oh
yeah.
boy, I can see
Yeah.
that. Oh yeah, I can see that. being
Gene
possible.
On
Park,
that note-
Gene Park from Washington Post.
Yeah.
He's a huge fan of that one. I don't remember what that game is called, but he posts some shit about that all the time.
Oh wow.
You would be surprised how many
Wait
people
a
are
minute,
into
wasn't
games like that.
wasn't Gene hating on some game recently? Indiana Jones, and he's hyped about that. What the hell?
Well, listen,
Oh,
man.
he did?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We're not gonna get into that.
Yeah, I'll leave it alone. My score was also a 9 out of 10. I won't go too far into it, but the reveals and announcements we had alone gave it a 9 out of 10. Kudos to all the winners and those who have even nominated, because we might not agree with all those who won, and we might think other games should have won, but most of them there should have been there. I think Urge Free still is the game of the year. I think we all agree that shouldn't have been there. But hey, a lot of the
And
games
it's been an incredible year of video games.
It has.
And next year is looking like it's going to be even bigger.
Crazy next year.
We thought that GTA 6 was going to be like the one big game. No, we didn't even get to talk about all the different things that we saw. Like, my God,
so
Obsidian is about to have 2 RPGs coming out in the year of 2025. That's insane.
Yeah, that's crazy too, because outside of Avowed, I would say Outer Worlds 2 looks really damn good.
So incredible.
Yeah. But we ran out of time. I don't want to take too much of you guys. I know we kind of went over, actually. But, fellas, let's exit out of here. Kay, could you tell the good folks where to find you? I know you got a show coming up this Saturday. Tell the good folks with that. And everybody hearing this, please come and support this brother. He sometimes brings us onto the show, too, to chop it up with him. But, yeah, Kay, tell her. First off, thank you for joining me, and very last impromptu kind of ask, and you acquiesce. Thank you. Where could the good folks find you, and what will you have going on this week?
Absolutely, no, I appreciate it, man. You know, anytime you need a backup, I got your back. It's always great to watch your shows and to hear your very well reasoned, learned takes. I appreciate that, man. It's
Thank you,
real
brother.
good to be on here. Myself, as I said previously, I think it was a solid show. Myself and Everborn are excited to talk about it. We broke out the spreadsheet beforehand to make sure we had the digital receipts, so now we're gonna ridicule each other tomorrow on the Gaming Circle podcast. I'm going to make sure he understands that Game of the Year, the Astro Bot, is the game that he should be playing. There'll be a lot of hilarity that will ensue, I suspect. I will invite the community that is the inner circle. You know who you are. If you have time, you want to jump in. We're gonna have an open door policy tomorrow. It's a second to last show we're doing for the year. After which case, we're gonna take a little bit of a break and then rest up for the new year. But yeah, man, come check us out. Gaming Circle Podcast, GCP, on YouTube. Starts Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Myself and Mr. Wolf, who's in the chat right now, will also be doing the Gamers Playground on Monday night. More handheld focus, more PC focus. But I'm sure we'll also be going over a lot of these exciting games that we've been seeing in the gaming street. So appreciate all the support. Appreciate the folks. Impromptu podcast, hanging out with the brothers, talking about games, and a bunch of folks show up. So thank y'all so much, and thanks for having me, Umbra.
Yes, sir. Always. It's an open door policy for you, brother. And last but not least, Lucius Augustus. I know you don't want anybody following you. You're gonna make it quick, but tell the good folks where they can't find you and how not to.
Don't look for me. I don't need you. I don't need no new friends.
I don't need you.
Hashtag no new friends. If you do want to interact with me, I will be inside of the Gaming Circle Discord, where we will have ridiculous, insane discussions that get a little bit more on the PG-13 side. So I will warn you on that. I'll warn you on that one. But yeah, that's where you can find me. Everywhere else, don't look for me.
There you go. Don't look for me, Argentina. I'm sorry. My voice is still ashy because of this cold. It just refuses to let go of me.
Not ashy, bro.
Ashy voice.
I'm ashy as hell
really?
right now. Yeah, my voice needs inner lotion somehow. Some type of lotion.
Oh, man.
Some type of lotion medicine or something. I don't know. Anyway, that didn't sound right either in my head now that I said it out loud. Anyhow, thank you both, gentlemen. Appreciate you guys. All those in the chat, we appreciate you as well. If you have not done so, hit the like button on the way out. We're going to get out of here. We will talk with you guys maybe this week. I'll be back on tonight, of course, on the Infinite Podcast with Risky for the Biscuit. that blue number and Dante, aka Spriggan, which, by the way, if you didn't know, is today's Dante's birthday. So if you guys join us there, make sure you give him a shout out tonight. That's at 8 o'clock. Well, excuse me, 7 o'clock Eastern for Risk It, because his time is different. He doesn't have what we have, I think. Yeah, so 7 o'clock Eastern for the Infinite Podcast tonight. See you guys there, hopefully. And see you guys later. You all have a good one.
Later.